Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, December 21st, and we are approaching Christmas quickly. Here it is. This is the live view of the new camera in Gina. I'm going to kind of alternate through and find whatever is the most interesting view every morning, as we now have two to choose from, and it's going to be like picking my kids, you know. So there it is, 250 feet up on the radio tower, I believe about 5 miles southwest of Gina. So I'll be adjusting this view as needed here over the next hopefully many years with this camera, and we're going to keep adding to this. So this is our view right now, and here is the view in Alexandria. So I'll show you both today. How about that? And since we don't have an actual weather sensor out there, I'm just going to keep that one as a camera view, but it is 49 degrees at the airport right now, and looking out toward the west here in Alexandria, you can see a few breaks in the clouds, but mainly a cloudy sky this morning. And really starting to see some activity here out west. This is that system that's coming in for Christmas. We have a lot to talk about here with all the Christmas travel stuff and everything. So for now, it's looking like everything's kind of pushing together onto Christmas Eve for us locally, but a lot of travel issues across the country, it looks like, here as we head in toward the holiday. Just some light rain sprinkles basically out in Texas right now, out ahead of all of this, and I'll show you how this is all going to progress here over the next few days. Temperatures, I have a cat in my lap, by the way. I'm just trying to hold her down from jumping on the keyboard. That's why I'm kind of like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Mid-40s across the northern half of the area, up into the low 50s down south, southwest, I guess is the best way to put that, with 53 in DeRidder and 44 up in Jonesville. We have movement. Go ahead and get down. There we go. Unencumbered now. This is beautiful. So let's look at that white Christmas forecast. If you are someone who wants to go out and see the snow, it looks like you're going, and this is not what's falling. This is actual snow cover forecast by the GFS model on Christmas Day. Canada looking pretty good. Looks like you're going to see a lot of white Christmases up that way. And then the mountains in Colorado, up and toward the Tetons in western Wyoming and eastern Idaho. Of course, your mountainous regions are going to see some snow, but really a very barren country here. Just looks like maybe a few places up in the Dakotas, northern Minnesota, maybe western Nebraska with a little snow cover there, but not a lot of white Christmases around the country this year. I think the pattern flips toward the new year, and we see a lot more snow across the country. That doesn't mean we're necessarily going to see any here, as it's always tough to get the snow in the forecast down here, but it's going to get colder. Not today, though. We actually warm up into the mid 60s, maybe upper 60s. Looks like mostly cloudy, but a few peaks of the sun, as we were seeing on both sky cameras this morning. So travel is great today. I think tomorrow it's not bad, and we'll kind of go over all this here in just a little bit, but mid 50s to low 60s across the state this morning, warming up into the 60s, upper 60s to near 70 today. So pretty similar to what we saw yesterday here, and rain is not in the forecast. Overnight tonight, we cool off, but we don't get as cool as we did last night, as clouds are going to stick around and that moisture just starts to push into the area. It just doesn't look like we get that lifting mechanism in here to really get things cranked up on Friday. It initially looked like we were going to see a decent little rain Friday into Saturday. I'm pulling back on that now, so any Friday or Saturday plans are looking better. There's some good news for you, and we still are getting that rain that we need. Just a few sprinkles in through Saturday morning, and then things are going to get a lot more active, and this is why the jet stream right here, a big cutoff system. You can see that circle out west of Los Angeles. This is producing flooding rains in Southern California, and it's finally going to start to get picked up, and you're going to see here that the jet stream is going to phase together. When that happens, when these two join forces, this system's going to be pretty strong, and it's going to start to move on toward the east, and this is when we're going to start to see things deteriorate for us. Now, this is very subtle, but you can see how there's a southwesterly flow just to our west, little ridge of high pressure there, little bump there over Louisiana and toward Mississippi and Alabama. That looks like it's going to keep us a little drier for Saturday, but then as that system comes together out of the Four Corners and moves our way, that's when we are going to see things turn pretty stormy, it looks like, as we get in toward Christmas Eve. Now, severe outlook, no severe in the forecast. That's mainly because we don't have instability to deal with, so there could be some thunderstorms. This is for Saturday. I think that shifts to the east on Sunday. Now, WPC KC has backed off a little on the rain totals because it looks like not much at all Friday and Saturday. So as opposed to what we were seeing a few days ago, we're looking like 1 to 2, 1 to 3 kind of range here, as opposed to that 2 to 4 inch range we were seeing. So it seems like this has really been happening a lot. Rain totals just kind of back down as we get closer to the event. I'm sure with the holiday going on, not as it's not as rough to take this news, but it does look like we're going to see a little bit less across our area. And now for the travel impacts across the country, I know a lot of you are going to be traveling, locally, regionally, and then who knows, you might be heading up to Seattle or out to Los Angeles. And if you're flying out Friday, you're going to want to check ahead on those flights into Los Angeles, Phoenix, Seattle. Looks like that's where your main impacts are going to be. Saturday, it gets closer to home. So if you're leaving Saturday and you're heading to Dallas or Houston, if you're heading out toward Austin, it looks like you're going to be running through some rain and storms. And then out west of Denver, could be some mountain snow out that way. And then for Sunday, if you are traveling on Christmas Eve, looks like it's going to be kind of rough around here. And then from, let's say, International Falls, Minnesota through Sioux Falls, South Dakota, back west, Valentine, Nebraska, Denver, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming, this is where the rough travel is going to be. So this is kind of a general idea of where we're going to see some problems. If you see the green, that area is going to likely have very little impact. Now, your 7-day forecast. It looks like we're going to see some rain on Christmas Eve. We know that. We've been talking about this. Could be some storms as well. But the rain chances around Christmas Eve have all come down just a little bit. On Christmas Day, I think any rain would be confined to the morning. Then we get this out of here. And then we actually get a cold front to come through late Christmas Day. And that's going to cool us into the 50s for Tuesday and Wednesday with lows in the 30s and 40s. But Christmas Eve, I would say anytime Christmas Eve, but especially from like noon until midnight, that's when we have a chance to see some hefty rainfall, and we actually are in a slight risk for excessive rainfall, which could, what that means is we could see some rates that kind of overwhelm what the ground's able to take in, and we could see some isolated flooding issues. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think we need all this rain. It's going to eventually run off. We're not going to see some big 5 to 10 inch rain out of this, but a couple inches in short order could cause some brief street flooding issues. Now, beyond this, we like to go beyond this, and I really like to when it looks like this. Below normal temperatures, December 29th through January 4th. So it looks like we're going to be cooler. It doesn't look like we are going to see this cool air meet up with a storm system, so I'm not looking for a big snow chance. You can see here we're at the below normal on the precipitation outlook. But toward the end of this period, now, I'm not gonna go off the rails here and say anything too crazy, but as we get into that January 3rd to January 8th time frame, it looks like we at least see a general pattern shift toward kind of stormy, kind of cold, and we'll see. Probably just a cold rain. That's what we usually get down here. But it is something that I'll be watching closely, because if anybody is staring at the models, trying to figure out a time when we would have a threat for something wintry, that's me. So I'm going to be looking at it. I'm not going to say anything crazy because, it's 15, 16, 18 days out. I can't do that. I'm not that good. You know that. But we are going to be watching closely to see how that early January pattern goes. And hopefully for winter fans, we get a little something to at least kind of talk about, because this pattern has been, it's been cruel to the winter fans. And we can see that across the country with very few areas actually seeing a white Christmas this year. So it looks like we flip things in January. We will take a look at that as we get closer to that time frame. But for now, plan on a wet Christmas Eve. Any outdoor plans, you need a backup. We talked about this several days ago. So just have that backup ready, and just be ready to celebrate the holiday with your family and friends and anybody you want to celebrate with. All right, I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll be talking about the Christmas Eve forecast and beyond as we get into that cooler weather just after Christmas. I'll see you then.